Capadia.
This thing was awesome.
On the
dude.
Ringer, 25 things you need to know about the Super Bowl. Everybody needs to read it.
It's so good.
It's fascinating.
So good. So well done by him. And I just kind of highlighted the things I like, and I know you've done the same, so I just want to look through some of these stories. Well, you go back to the game 2 years ago, Super Bowl 57. Hurts fumbles in that game, and it was returned for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Obviously a huge moment of momentum there for the Kansas City Chiefs. And then you look at a special teams play. The Chiefs had a 65-yard punt return, obviously puts them in better field position. They turn the punt return into a touchdown. So we're talking about 14 points, one generated via a turnover and the other generated via your special teams, and the Chiefs won by 3. So obviously those are things. The Eagles, despite the Chiefs not even being anything close to what that team was, the Eagles make one mistake like that, one of a big punt return, a big special teams play, a fumble, obviously, that leads to points. It's over. They're not going to be able to overcome that.
Right.
You have to play perfect football if you're Philadelphia.
Yeah, you have to play perfect football because you're playing the Chiefs and the refs.
Yeah.
And good teams overcome bad refs. I've said it time and time again. And, well, we'll see, man. It's going to be a challenge, but you don't want to give them any sort of opportunity. I wanted to be more morbid and say, like, life. Because football is about just taking the will of your opponent. I know you want to do this. You're not going to be allowed to do that. I know you think you can stop us. You can't stop us. Football is really, well, it's a violent and brutal game.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have to be more violent and brutal, and you can't give them any sort of spark because they have the confidence, the hubris, the arrogance to know, like, oh, they just gave us a chance. They just gave us a chance. They're so dumb, they just gave us a chance.
Yep.
That's what you have to avoid if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's something where if we flash back to Super Bowl 50, like the Denver Broncos didn't give Cam Newton any sort of chance.
No, they did not.
That play changed his life. He still talks about it today because everyone has a podcast. It's kind of the joke now. It's been a joke for a while. Like, you should start a podcast. Oh, everyone has one.
Yeah. But listen to Cecil and Ice.
Yes, please. And watch us on YouTube. Hi, YouTube.
Yeah, what's up, YouTube?
But like that's where the Denver Broncos against an offense that was rolling. Like they were rolling over people.
Like ZB after the first hour.
They were rolling. Yes, off and rolling. Gonna say it all the time, ZB. And coming off the top row with it, that's what the Broncos did. If you're the Eagles, now the Chiefs offense isn't high flying like Carolina's was, but you just need to stomp them out. You need to stomp them out, man. And that means not giving them any sort of life, any sort of breath, any sort of opportunity to say, oh, I know what we can do now. We can just go beat you.
So another layer to this is the Mahomes Fangio conversation. We got into it a little bit earlier, Cease, but you said he was a consultant because it was Jonathan Gannon as the full DC. I think going back to his time as the head coach of the Broncos, it was looked at of like, oh, Vic Fangio has figured something out that, I don't want to say defeats Patrick Mahomes, but keeps him in more check than anything else another defensive coordinator has been able to do. Now, is Fangio going to shut Patrick Mahomes down? No. I don't know that anybody can do that. But if there is a defensive coordinator that's going to confuse him, that's going to give him looks that Mahomes just isn't going to pick apart right from the jump, I think Vic Fangio is the best guy to have that opportunity.
He does have an opportunity, but here's one thing he does not have. A win against Patrick Mahomes.
He's over? Oh, no. Damn it.
Patrick Mahomes, and this goes to when Vic was in Miami. Remember? I go to South Beach every day.
That's right. Yeah.
Miami, Denver, he's never beaten Pat Mahomes.
Damn it.
Pat Mahomes is 8-0 against Vic Fangio.
So he keeps him in check and still loses.
Exactly. Yeah. So we could go back in the Broncos history and be like, well, why didn't it happen? Okay, offense, whatever. But if you look at this opportunity, okay, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts. But Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Saquon, please save us all. Because Vic's going to keep you close. If Saquon can finish it off, can Saquon just play quarterback? Can they just run the Wildcat, Wild Eagle, whatever you want to call it, right? America, blank, Let's go Philadelphia.
Yes.
And that's the thing. Vic Fangio would get his first win over Pat Mahomes.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Isn't that weird that, like, I think I think like the I don't know how to say this, like the overwhelming conversation would be like, no, Fangio, he does well against Mahomes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then you learn he's never beat him in a single game. So, like, how can you think he's done well and is 0 in the history of? That's like buying drinks for her all night and going home alone. Isn't it? That's what that is.
It's exactly what that is. Yep.
All right, well, what about the other side then? What about Jalen Hurts versus Steve Spagnuolo? Hurts is sacked 13.2% of the time when he is blitzed. So how much, and we saw him do it a lot. We've seen him do it a lot through the regular season, postseason, really his time in Kansas City. Spags will be aggressive. So sacked 13% of the time. Neither of us are big believers in Jalen Hurts. If you're Steve Spagnuolo, it ain't broke. Don't try to fix it.
Right.
I'd still be sending a whole lot Jalen Hurts' way.
Yeah, and then make him beat you as a passer. That's the key for Kansas City, and Spags is going to know this. Make Jalen Hurts beat you as a passer because he probably can't. You're trying to control Saquon Barkley as much as possible. None of those big runs. You said, 60 yards?
6. He's got 6 runs of 50 yards or more.
Okay, so let's just say 50 yards. Keep him from that sort of play. 20 yards, fine-ish. But keep him from that sort of back-breaking play. Saquon Barkley can break you. He can break your back. Unless you just sell out to stuff the run, cram the box, 8 in the box, one-on-one on the outside. Yeah, it's Jalen Hurts. Unless he does play action, he doesn't throw the ball. So, literally does not throw the ball. So, watch for play action. Know that you're fine against the run, and then you have to make him make a more difficult throw.
Okay.
Unless it's Devontae Smith, the Slim Reaper, getting wide open on a deep shot, you're going to put the pressure on Jalen Hurts. And the weakest spot, we're going to get to this for 2 potential Denver Broncos, both at the inside linebacker, both for one of these teams.
Yes.
And there's a preference, and it may not be the preference that people think.
Okay.
There's a preference, in my opinion. So if you are looking at this, you go, okay, Jalen Hurts to Dallas Goedert in the middle of the field. Nick Bolton and my Chiefs guys that I trust that are around the team, I'll say that, say Bolton can't run anymore. Because I've clowned around a little bit with some people who are like, Nick Bolton going to be in Denver next year. And they're like, well, good, take him. He can't run anymore.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, well, Dallas Goedert over the middle against a guy that can't run anymore. And Goddard is healthy now. He hasn't been healthy this year, been a little banged up. You get that guy on a deep seam, middle seam ripper, just running straight down the middle.
Yeah.
I always love the name of, that's the X-Waggle Z Willie. Run that play. I've run that play 10 times. I did my Brandon Stokely impression. I just think a deep middle seam, which is running straight down the middle of the field, would work, but Jalen Hurts is almost allergic to throwing to the middle of the field. So can Hurts overcome his deficiencies, or can Saquon Barkley just be superhuman? Because that's kind of what he is.
Allergic to dancing? Wasn't that 10 Things I Hate About You?
It's a great movie.
Yes, it is.
Taming of the Shrew. Did you know that? It's just a modernization of Taming of the Shrew.
Really? That actually checks out. If you think about it, right?
Yeah. Go back and watch it again. It's great.
Checks out, yeah.
Yeah, Jewel Stiles in it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You bring up Devontae's name. Now, again, what does it look like with Spags? And then if you are bringing extended pressure, extra pressure, what are you trying to do on the back end? Well, Devontae Smith is good against zone coverage. Devontae Smith this year had 700 yards against zone coverage. Now, you're going to have to get the ball out quick because of the pressure.
Right.
Jalen Hurts is going to have to make the right first read. And that's obviously, that's how I feel about it too. But that's an opportunity for the Eagles. If Jalen's firing on all cylinders and they're getting pre-snap looks that both quarterback Jalen and receiver Devontae can recognize, hey, they're coming. You're hot to that side because they're coming there. You can get a lot of one-on-ones. But you have to have Jalen Hurts on the same page with his wide receiver, and how often does that happen?
Yeah, not as often as they need it to happen, that's for sure. Because you would have to figure, regardless of what Vic Fangio could throw at Pat Mahomes is going to figure him out. Enough to win. Hell, he's never lost to Vic Fangio.
Yep.
So on the flip side, can you then figure out what Spags wants to do, and can you take advantage of that? A.J. Brown, who had to be part of the conversation around Jalen Hurts of like, hey, can you be cool? You're not better than us, man. You're one of us. A.J. Brown, can he be superhuman in this? He's absolutely amazing. And you look at how him and Nuke Hopkins both had to leave their teams to go pursue things. And you heard Nuke Hopkins talk about how Tennessee kind of did him wrong. A.J. Brown, you don't really think about that, but you also think like, okay, here's a guy that comes in, big name wide receiver, big time playmaker. What have you won? champions are remembered.
That's right.
And he has not yet been a champion. Can he be superhuman in this game? It comes back to the guy dishing a rock, man, and Jalen Hurts. Can he get it done? That's the question.
One more quick note. Saquon versus the Kansas City Line mentioned the 6 runs of 50 yards or more. That's by far the most this season. It's actually the second most by a running back in a single season in the last 25 years.
Whoa.
But
number 1 was Adrian Peterson?
It was Adrian Peterson back in 2012.
I just had to guess.
Nice memory there. Kansas City, though, they can stop the run. They're 9th in run defense, and those big explosive plays, which is 25 yards or more, I think is what it's described as. They're 5th in the league in limiting those.
Ugh.
So that defensive line can hold its weight against Saquon Barkley. We'll just see how much Saquon elevates the game as well.
Everything on paper says the Kansas City Chiefs win this game.
It does, dude.
But I'm going to take the paper away. You got some papers? I'm going to take the paper away, and I'm going to roll it up and smoke it, and I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to go with my heart. We'll do prop bets, and we'll pick the game. And I'm not Mike Evans. I'm not Mike Evans.
Your shoes are way cooler than his.
We're like, what? We're all rocking Jays last night, looking good. Stokely with his only pair of Jordans.
Yeah, he's got a couple, but those are clean.
Yeah, those are very, very clean. And then we're like, what's Mike wearing? Oh, he's got the dad shoes, the New Balance.
He's gonna go home and mow the yard after that.
Exactly. He's got versatile shoes, right? Versatility for Mike Evans. But Evans is running around talking about sympathies for KC and Broncos fans. Can you root for your AFC? No. God, I hate him.
Not happening.
No way. No, not at all.
Well, it'll be Super Bowl 59 coming up on Sunday. And yeah, the stinking Chiefs are playing in it again. But today, hey, happy anniversary, Broncos country, because today is a beautiful anniversary of Super Bowl 50.
And now, let's meet the AFC champion, Denver Broncos.
It's been the ultimate team season.
I think we really embody what a team is. This is everything we've been working for since we were young.
Super Bowl 50, Jim Nantz, Bill Sims. And here come the Panthers chasing after Manning, who gets it away in time. And Daniels, his tight end, has an 18-yard gain. And the Panthers have a 3rd and 10. Here comes pressure, and they've gotten to him. The ball is out in the end zone, and it's recovered by Malik Jackson for the touchdown. It was Vaughn Miller with the strip sack to the right. It's Tolbert, and he fumbles, and Trevathan is there with the recovery. Rushing 4, ball comes out of the hands of Newton. It's on the ground, and it's still on the ground. Picked up by T.J. Ward at the 4-yard line. Vaughn Miller did it again. 1st and goal. And Anderson got it back in, and he's in the end zone for the touchdown. And off the field, he walks. You got to think one last time. And now 2-time Super Bowl champion. A final star turn it is for Peyton. And the Denver Broncos have taken Super Bowl 50.
I'm going to say this, and he would not want me to say this, but this one's for Pat.
Oh, I got the chills listening to it there. Nice work, Kevin Kistner.
Kev's cutting onions back there,
Yeah,
buddy?
Kev's a little emotional.
I'll never forget.
It is such a great memory, and hearing those guys talk, and how about Peyton up front? Like, this is a true team year because the defense was outstanding.
Yeah.
Peyton and Brock going back and forth. What's Peyton's health look like? Remember that's the year he's like double burden Gary because he wants to come back and play, and he knows Gary's watching his film. And all the cool stuff that happened with it. A great anniversary today. Super Bowl 50, the anniversary of today.
Yeah, feels great, baby. You want to get back there, and you want to get an inside linebacker like you had in that game. You had a couple in that game.
That sure would be nice.
And you want a run game like you had in that game. Thank you to C.J. Anderson. Those were the days, man.
Good old days.
Those were the days. Yep.
Definitely
We didn't know how good we had it.
No.
And we didn't know, as having hubris as a fan base or media that covers, we didn't know how terrible things could be.
No.
We'd never experienced that.
I always think about, definitely not in our lifetimes. I always think about, this is usually a conversation with bad football markets, and that's not what we live in. But, you always hear the question of like, hey, would you give up 10 years? Would you have 10 bad years to win one Super Bowl? And then those bad markets are like, yeah, hell yeah, we would. With Super Bowl? But in Denver, you're like, I don't know about that. 10 years? We don't ride like that. And here we are.
Yeah.
Next year will be 10, right?
Yeah.
They have gone back to the playoffs finally, so you don't have to answer that. But I always think about that when we look back at Super Bowl 50, because that's the stipulation. Would you give up one, or would you give up a decade for one? I don't want to, but here we are doing it.
Yeah, here it happened. And, Now with Greg Penner running the show, I don't feel that 9 years of hell will ever be duplicated in Broncos history. So long as the Walton Penner group's running this thing, I think they got that right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
In a big way.
It will not. We will never feel that again. All right, so a huge anniversary. Awesome work on the montage there, Kevin Kistner. Now let's talk about a reason to watch and actually engage with Super Bowl 59. Because everybody's rooting for the Eagles. We know the refs are on the side of the Chiefs. But a couple of players that could be free agents, not could be, will be free agents, and could be on their way to Denver. It's actually two players that play the same position that you just hinted at, the Broncos needing a lot of help in that position. And, of course, we're talking about inside linebacker, Nick Bond.
Zach Bond.
Why do I write Nick?
Because
Zach
Nick
Bond.
Bolton.
Zach Bond and Nick Bolton, both inside linebackers. To keep an eye on them, number 53 in Philadelphia's uniform is Zach. And then number 32 is Nick Bolton on the other side. Guys that are going to be free agents. I really like Zach Bond, but you've said something that I just can't get out of my head.
Okay.
Not only do you address a position of need, you steal something from Kansas City if you're able to go and get Nick Bolton. But keep an eye on both players, and then on Monday we can obviously talk about, hey, which one do we like more to come to Denver?
Right, and you steal one from Kansas City, you weaken a divisional opponent, and they don't have an answer behind him. Like, why is Nick Bolton playing if the Chiefs guys I talked to are right and Nick Bolton can't run anymore? Why are you playing him? Oh, you don't have an answer. And here's this sucks that I have to say this, but it's true, and the truth isn't meant to make you feel good. The truth of the matter is Nick Bolton would be the best inside linebacker the Broncos have. He can't run, and he'd be the best inside linebacker on this roster right now.
The truth is the light.
Thank you. Like, that's the God's honest truth. Mm-hmm. He'd be the best inside linebacker the Broncos have, and Nick Bolton can't run anymore, according to people around that team.
Right.
So, do you want that? Zach Bond, now I read it.
I'm sorry.
Zach Bond. Zach is going to cost quite a bit of money. Whole lot of money. Now, it's inside linebacker. It's not going to break the bank.
When you say that, I mean, what, $8 million? $10 million?
We'll look at the market. Kev, look up what the top ILBs make for me, please. Top of my head, please, and thank you. But, okay, he's going to get he'll be in the top 10 of what he's paid at. A special teams player, mainly misused. Sean Payton. Would Sean Payton admit this mistake? He wasn't used correctly by New Orleans. You think Sean would admit that? Or he'd be like, I knew the talent was there all the time. Mm-hmm. We're just waiting for him to develop, right? Exactly. That's what Sean would say. Uh-huh. This one's for me. So what is it, Kev?
Top linebacker Roquan Smith is making $20 per year.
Hey, give me the 10. Who's at 10?
That's too much, obviously.
Yeah. That's way too much.
Obviously.
Way too much.
All right, let's go. Let's just go Logan Wilson, $9 million.
Okay.
That's kind of what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
In between 8 and 10?
Yeah. Now, he's not Logan Wilson. That would be my argument again. I love Logan Wilson.
But remember, we talked about it a little bit yesterday of Bond knowing and his agents knowing this is it. He's 28 years old. You're getting one more chance to have a big deal.
Okay, so my question to you then is this. Would you, strike that from the record, should you pay up for inside linebacker? Because you're kind of desperate. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of names. These are the two, by the way. Yeah. These are the two. These guys right here. Mm-hmm. Would you pay up? You don't want to pay up. You don't want to be the team like Jacksonville that, of course we're going to pay Calvin Ridley $1 zillion because we're Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. Do you want to pay up for inside linebacker even if it's slightly overpaying?
So, like, for example, like
$10 million.
Okay.
Zach Bond, here's $10 million a year.
Yeah, I think I would. I would too.
Because
that's just been so ignored since Super Bowl 50, since Danny
Trevathan.
And then before that, what was it, 20 years of not having a player at that position? So, although DJ Williams, I really liked his Dime Life clothing, he left a little to be desired on the field.
Yes. Smoke Dog Al Wilson. I'd say you went from Smoke Dog to Danny, and there was a little bit of a gap. All due respect to Wesley Woodyard, some guys like that.
Mm-hmm. I'd respect Wesley a lot more if he didn't go to Kentucky.
That's where Danny went.
Well, he was good. He was good now.
He was damn good.
Real good. And I actually have a photo on my Instagram from a long time ago. I used to do a radio show with Wesley Woodyard, or produce his radio show. Yeah. And I wore an Indiana sweater to kind of troll him a little bit. And, dude, he actually, put me up against the wall.
Whoa.
And I was like, don't wear that stuff around here anymore.
Wow.
And I wore it again the next week, obviously.
Okay.
To get him riled up.
He wasn't playing then.
No, he was not playing at all.
Wow.
So yeah, I think I would, dude. And you know what I look at? Like, you say it, you're gonna have to pay a little bit of extra. It's what the Nuggets have done in the past to get a free agent to come in, Paul Millsap. Like, that's just what you have to do at times. And I mean, if you have to pay a little bit extra money to address an inside linebacker that even Bond, I'm looking at 28 years old. All right, it's a 3-year deal, right? That's really all you're looking at.
Yeah.
Is a 3-year deal, and you hope that you get the most out of it, and then you draft one, and that person gets developed to fill that void in the next 2 years.
3 years, $30 million, 17 guaranteed.
Dude, 100%.
Sounds great. Done.
Yep.
Done. Now you've wrapped that up. And yeah, it's a little bit of an overpay, but that's the market. The market's going to be there for these two players that if you're the Broncos or a Broncos fan, you need to watch out for and say, okay, do you want one? You know?
Could you get Bolton, I mean, because of what's being said there, that's a cheaper deal. But again, you take the risk of what if he actually cannot run?
You do, right? And
we know Cody Barton cannot run
yeah,
in coverage.
we don't know about Alex Singleton.
Well,
right?
What he's going to be, you mean? Yeah.
Who can answer that question? Alex can't even answer that question himself. So it's a question mark as to what do you have left? You know you don't want Justin Strnad playing inside linebacker.
Mm-mm.
You want him playing special teams. Mm-hmm. He's fine. He's actually really, really good playing special teams. Yeah, I'd take listen. Okay, here we go.
All
Here
right.
we go.
You got the answer.
I'm getting mad.
Oh, yes.
You have Bo Nix. This is not the time to shop in the bargain bin. And if you got to overpay for Zach Bond, then you're going to overpay for Zach Bond. You have Bo Nix.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Nix is your black Amex card, right? Where it's like, I can buy whatever I want. Why? Because you have that guy on a rookie deal. So it's not even just having Bo Nix. It's having Bo Nix on a rookie deal. This is not the time to be cheap. And thank God Greg Penner is not cheap. He's smart. And you know what smart money does? Smart money spends money when it knows that you got to spend the money. So Greg Penner, spend that money.
Bo's a great dude.
100%. 100%. That's very well said, Cecil.
I got mad there for a little bit.
I saw it like going in your eyes. I'm like, oh, he's about to get up.